My name is Book2 and I'll be doing Chapter 6, Book 2, on Corporate and Entrepreneurial Crime. Background. Corporate crime involves both individuals and organizational entities. Individuals are usually organizational personnel who choose to execute, cover up, or defend a criminal act on behalf of the corporation. Unlike street crime, organizational personnel can go unnoticed under the cloak of organization, occupation, or profession. In 1939, Edwin Sutherland first came up with the term white-collar crimes. He used this term to refer to those criminal acts committed by a person of respectability and high social status in the course of his occupation. Sutherland examined criminal justice systems, civil judgment, civil courts, and other, and discovered that major corporations would qualify as habitual criminals. Herbert Edelhertz defined white-collar crimes as an illegal act of series of illegal acts committed by non-physical means and concealment to obtain money or property, to avoid payment or loss of money or property, and to obtain business or personal advantages. Gilbert Guise focused on the upper world crime. Gary Green moved forward with the general term occupational crime. This crime would be committed by an employing organization, for example, a trained or licensed professionals. There is also blue-collar crime. In contrast to white-collar crime, blue-collar crime involves law-violating behaviors by less prestigious groups such as small business owners in automobile repairs, gardening, house cleaning, general installation services. White-collar crimes ranges from crimes involving bribery, corruption, political fraud, tax fraud, and bankruptcy fraud. Corporate crimes falls under the white-collar crime, usually committed by managers, professionals, and executives. Corporate crime varies by business, organizational size, and level of economic development and society.
Good afternoon, everyone. This right here is textbook 2, chapter 5. My part was Across Asia and Pacific, Corporate and Entrepreneurial Crime. This section was really short, so I got the brief points. First, across Asia and Pacific, common offenses by medium-sized businesses include tax frauds, safety violations, environmental pollution, defective and counterfeit products, and labor abuses. Second, some common deeds by corporate giants include market manipulation, territorial domination, contract exploitation, and political leverage and stock fraud. 3. A major corporation uses scarce suspicion and suppression to eliminate competition in order to attain total domination over a country or a regional market with its products or service. 4. According to the American authorities, the former corporate officer demanded and received more than $4.7 million in kickbacks from the Chinese factories that made shoes for the company in just about 3 years. 5. Multinational corporations expand to developing countries in Asia and the Pacific, not only because they want to cover that part of the world with their businesses, but rather because they face tough regulation, businesses, maturation, profit, sanitation, and their development in base countries, and because they want to take advantage of tax legal systems, a vast consumer population, and cheap labor in developing countries. Thank you so much for your time.
Type, pattern, and characteristics. Corporate enterprises, professional organizations, and other businesses can engage in legal violations and criminal offenses in different ways depending on their type of business. Industrial companies engage in criminal behavior by using low-quality materials, ignoring manufacturer standards, and shipping out their nail merchandise with defects. For example, let's take a case of a bad nail clipper from China in a Walmart store. Many of them cost $1, so not everyone's going to want to go back to make a claim about it. So they just leave it like that, so the merchandise keeps coming back with defects. Agricultural entrepreneurs, farmers, and fishermen engage in criminal behavior by not being honest and not careful with the use of pesticides, fertilizers, and other chemicals. An example of this would be the Asian tsunami in 2004. The dead fishes were being used to make fish balls and fish meat products without the consumers knowing about this. Service, professional, and knowledge-based enterprises organizations also engage in criminal behavior by making profits from fees that shouldn't be charged. An example is that in Asian countries, many people pay for a piece of paper saying that they own land in the United States, but in reality, it's just a piece of paper and they don't really own a thing here. Small businesses also engage in criminal behavior by making frauds in taxes, insurance, employee safety, and health and products. For example, they hire many immigrants for low market pay and benefits. And also, they make frauds in their taxes. They don't report everything that they should, and they don't give their employees enough safety utensils to use. Self-monitoring, eco-surveillance, and internal deterrence increase when companies are bigger. Medium-sized companies usually offer unfair wages and benefits, and they have the tools to make it easy to produce illegal or bootleg items.
My name is Carla, and I'll be going over the cause of corporate and entrepreneurial crime. So one of the causes for this crime is that greed is at the highest principle or corporate and entrepreneurial deviance and crime. Greed is part of human nature, and that we are all born with to pursue self-interest. Large corporations consider greed and their desire to control access to natural resources, guard their technology, dominate market, and drive up the price of their stock. In contemporary society, many businesses grow into sizable corporations, one of them being board of directors, which they are interested in investment returns in the form of dividends or stock values. Executives pursue the desire for large compensation packages involving bonuses, housing, travel benefits, and salaries. The middle level management are concerned with job stabilities, upward mobility, and monthly paychecks. And lastly, floor workers. And they may be represented by a union to fight for the best possible wages and fringe benefits. The nature of exchange puts regular consumers in a natural yet vulnerable situation for economic loss, emotional stress, and criminal victimization. The principle of luxury. Customers are made to pay for premium for the luxury they are privileged to enjoy over necessity. And an example of this is in contemporary society, a child's basic necessities items such as diapers, clothing, shoes, and food is more expensive because of widespread consumption. Migrants and tourists, transients, and foreigners are likely targets by corporation and businesses entities for cross-border crime. Employers have migrants and transients to work long hours in hazardous conditions for low wages because they assume that migrants and transients are uneducated, unorganized, and unprotected by local authorities. Merchants often sell outdated or low-quality foods to tourists and transients because they assume that they cannot spot the difference in the item, and because if they do approach them about it, merchants are able to handle it well. Foreigners also experience discrimination in other countries because they do not completely understand the norms of that certain society and are taken advantage of. Lastly, regardless of what corporations have, items may be tainted or simply disposed because they are believed that people in deprived conditions do not deserve the same high standards of living. Now I'm going to turn it over to one of my group mates to finish this chapter.